I'm Adam Watson.
I'm Trinity Watson.
This is the Dark Slinger Mafia 31 Days of Halloween. Every day throughout the month of October, we're going to be taking a look at something that's a horror book, that's spooky, that's scary,
That's gory.
that's gory, may or may not have clowns in it. These books, thank God, do not have clowns in it.
Disappointing.
So this series is Dreadful Analekta by Oscar Romero, adapting the work of C.M. Eddy Jr. Full disclosure, this is one of the books that we distribute through Comics Mainstream, the whole reason that we have it propped up on the spinner rack. Let's take a look at the various issues. So we have Ashes, which is the newest release out of the three, right? I don't know if this is supposed to be pronounced the Loved Dead or the Loved Dead, but I say Loved Dead because it sounds cooler.
I say Love It Dead because you do.
Oh, okay. And the Better Choice. So which one of these do you think we should take a look at?
Shouldn't we do Ashes first, since we've had The Better Choice and The Love It Dead on the channel before?
Yeah, that works. Ordinarily, when we take a look at something we distribute, as we do with Dreadful Analekta, we don't go through the entirety of the book, unless we have permission. But I have permission from Oscar to take a full look through this one. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, with Dreadful Analekta, this is actually the third issue, but as they're all just adaptations of C.M. Eddy Jr.'s stories, Oscar wisely named them after the story that they're adapted from. The intro here has a nice little note from C.M. Eddy Jr.'s grandson talking about how this story went through several different submissions before it was finally picked up for Weird Tales. If you're not familiar with the name C.M. Eddy Jr., he was a writer around the time that Lovecraft was. In fact, the two of them were friends. I'm not sure how Oscar was exposed to his work. We should actually interview Oscar at some point so we can find out all the answers to those kind of questions.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But each one of the Dreadful Analekta stories is an adaptation of something that he's done. We also get an intro from Oscar where he talks about how his process in this one was a bit different.
Yeah.
Normally in the Loved Dead and Better Choice, he used a lot of brushes. In this one, he used pens, specifically dip pens and micron pens.
Okay.
So it does have a bit of a different look to it than the other two do. But I think it's cool. I really like the way that all the stories are adapted. Just to give the general caveat, though, we don't do critique on the stuff that we're distributing the same way we would the other books that we're looking through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one thing I'm just going to state right away, though, this is not a critique. This is a compliment, but it's one I'd be making whether I was distributing this or not. These have far more of a literary feel to them than most of the comics that I read.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it begins with Bruce showing up at Prague's house, right? The guy's name's Prague. And his nerves are obviously shot. What's the solution to having nerves that are shot? Alcohol. And he begins telling him a story about a professor who he has recently been employed by, who's concocting some sort of serum. It doesn't actually state what the serum is exactly, right? But he's concocting a serum, and he has been working for him in his lab. He's telling him the story as they're playing checkers. I really like that they're continuously smoking throughout this, because that would have been correct for the time period, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, as he moves through the story, he tells him about Marjorie, who is a girl that was working as a secretary, and I'm assuming some sort of lab assistant, who he just instantly fell in love with. But she was completely business as business at first, though eventually they did start to develop feelings for each other.
Yeah.
And then the professor shows him a serum he's made and uses it on a bunny. And the results are that it's reduced to ash, which is what this is meant to symbolize. So very effective.
Mm-hmm. The panel work and the layout in this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is just a great splash page.
Mm-hmm.
The bunny being reduced, the fear in the bunny's face, that all works out so well.
Yeah.
So he's continuing to recount the story, mainly about Marjorie, though. He doesn't spend a whole lot of time on what the crazed professor is doing.
Yeah.
A lot of his story is just fixated on the girl that he's in love with.
Yeah. He's so calm about the fact that the professor just created a weapon that can destroy everything but glass, is what he says.
Uh-huh.
The only thing he cares about is Marjorie. He does not care about this total world annihilating liquid.
Right.
At all.
So then he tells Prague about how Marjorie fell into his arms and they started kissing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out she wanted the kisses. She returned his affection. They had a night together and she promised to be his wife.
Mm-hmm. Romance moved a lot quicker back then.
It did, yeah. I think my grandparents were engaged after only knowing each other for a few days.
Dang, just like Disney characters.
Yeah. That's pretty realistic the way they did it back then, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he continues to tell the story about how he was waiting for Marjorie to return from work and she just never came.
Mm-hmm.
It became later and later. The minutes seemed to be stretching on as hours, and she just did not come, despite the fact that she'd promised him she would see him that night.
Yeah.
So he returns to the lab and is told the professor wants to see him. And he makes the assumption that the professor has turned Marjorie into a jar of ashes that he sees on the counter. Her hat and her coat are left in a chair. So he makes a natural assumption that this professor, who looks pretty crazy in that panel, has killed the woman he loves. So he kills the professor in turn. Mm-hmm. They're struggling and he manages to bash the professor's skull in with the jar of ashes.
Yeah. Which is some really cool panel layout.
Oh, yeah.
And then he dunks the professor in the tank that was meant for somebody else, presumably.
Yes. May or may not be what happened to Marjorie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it ends up turning him to ash. So he's telling his friend this, and he's confessing, basically telling him, you can take me to the law, you can do whatever you want. My life has no meaning anymore without Marjorie. But then Prague asks him if he's sure that Marjorie is actually dead. And explains to him that what he saw was a coat, hat, and ashes. He doesn't actually know she's dead, and there's only one way to find out. Mm-hmm. So they return to the house. And upon getting there, they find out that she's not dead, but the professor has locked her in a coffin, and there's only so much air that you're going to have in there.
Yeah.
So she fills Bruce and Bragan on the fact that he just savagely turned a Newfoundland dog into ash, which is just the worst thing of all time.
Yeah.
And Oscar does such a great job of drawing this that you just really feel
a
lot of sympathy for that dog. At least I do.
No, I do too. It's so sad. It's so upsetting.
And he's planning on dunking Bruce into it. He wants him to be his first human test subject. But instead, the professor got turned into ashes by Bruce.
Yep.
Yeah, so masterful end to a masterful story.
Mm-hmm. So where can we find this at?
I'm sure there are a lot of places that Oscar sells it, but the relevant part to us is that as Comics Mainstream, we distribute this. Retailers can order this directly through Comics Mainstream. Tell your local retailer to go over to comicsmainstream.com, get signed up with us, and start ordering Dreadful Analekta. 3 issues are currently available. Ashes, the better choice.
And the Loved Dead.
You got anything else?
Nope.
All right, let's go make and distribute comics. Looking for something to read this Halloween season? Darkslinger Comics has you covered. Check out Ghost Assassin, a supernatural crime comic. Issue number 1 is currently available in a color edition, as well as a limited edition black and white raw copy that features Joel Kotajar's pencils and the lettering only. There's also a raw edition available for issue number 2. We're currently completing the inks and coloring stages on issue number 2. Can't wait to read it? You can pick up the A story in the cards as a mini comic. Issue number 3 is also available in the raw edition. Vampires more your thing? Check out Chronicles of Van Helsing. This story features the world's oldest blood feud, the Van Helsings versus vampire kind. Issue number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are all available, as well as the Sally mini comic and the newest addition to the Chronicles of Van Helsing lineup, Blood Will Out by Tony Morgan. This is the last time Chronicles of Van Helsing issues number 1 through 5 in the Sally special will be offered in this format. We're almost sold out of the remaining copies. The next time it sees print is going to be as a colored edition hardcover. Vampires and supernatural crime not your thing? Check out Who Will Save the World. All of these issues are available online on darkslinger.com, on our eBay store. You can order digital editions through our Patreon. Most of the comics mainstream spinner racks have these titles in stock as well. Are you a retailer and you're interested in stocking Darkslinger products? Get a hold of Comics Mainstream. Comics Mainstream is the exclusive distributor for Darkslinger Comics.